Hello, Americans, U.S. citizens, especially those of you who are black citizens who are descendants of the chattel slaves, American Africans. Recently, on July 27th, 2022, former President Donald J. Trump made a proposal. He went to Washington, D.C., and he gave a speech on the rising crime in America. He stated in the midst of that speech, when it comes to the matter of homelessness, public health and safety concerns, he says if he becomes president again, that he will remove all the homeless and place them in huge tent cities on cheap land outside of the urban centers, thereby making our cities beautiful again. He said, however, if you think that my removing the homeless onto huge tent cities, by the way, where they will have all the amenities of life, including medical, psychological, and social service programs for rehabilitation. Or, he says, would America rather have homeless people languishing in their streets, in front of their stores, retail stores, their properties, parks, beaches? You know the discussion, which everybody is complaining about in every neighborhood in America: black, Hispanic, Latino, Asian, white. Everybody's complaining about the homeless, and politicians are making homelessness the cause for why voters should vote them to become public servants. He says, would you prefer them to languish in your streets as such, or would you prefer me to take them away and take care of them? Now, folks, Mr. Trump has done something that nobody else would dare do in this country. That is, anyone of real political influence. He took a conversation that's been going on for decades, a conversation called relocation of the homeless. It's a conversation that both parties, Republican, Democrat, liberal, conservative, activists, social service providers for the homeless, have discussed either privately behind closed doors with one another or within their own minds, fearing that if that thought of relocation was uttered to the wrong persons at the wrong time, that they would be viewed as Nazis. Remember the Nazi concentration camps of Jews and other Europeans that the Germans felt were inferior to themselves and that they were vermin, rats. They drew rats and diseases, and they were drunkards, drug addicts, and lazy, shiftless, dangerous people, criminals. And the Nazis said to society, who was concerned about these matters, we will take care of them. We will simply remove them out of your sight and out of your mind, and you don't have to feel guilty or otherwise about it. You should not concern yourself with it. Or during the same World War II era of the 1940s, when America rounded up American Japanese citizens and put them in what they called internment camps until the war was over for their safety and for the public's safety, public health and safety. You know, if you're surprised about America behaving like the Nazis in Germany, remember what happened to the original indigenous peoples in this land we call America? That's right. They were also eyesores, a problem, vermin, dangerous to public health and safety. And what did America do through its federal government? Remove these people from the center of society out to cheap land on what? reservations. Basically, concentration camps and internment camps. So this is not beyond the ability or the psyche of the American people or any human being of any civilization that feels threatened public health and safety wise. Well, Mr. Trump has finally said what everyone's been thinking. You see, folks, I thought the same thing, but not the way he is saying it, because he says he could do it in one day. One day, D-Day. How can you do something like that in one day? By the military. Why? Because the military has the personnel, has the resources such as the land, cheap land, and they have resources such as the transportation vehicles to rapidly and organized nationwide, nearly overnight operation end your homelessness problem. The vermin will be gone. You will have your storefronts, your property, your vacant lots, your parks, your school fronts, your alleyways, your beaches, your tourist attractions back. And your cities, as he says, will be made beautiful and safe again. Okay? Public health and safety. So essentially, what he will create are public health and safety facilities outside of the urban centers on cheap land. Now, I said a minute ago, I've thought the same thing, and you have too. And anybody with any intellectual common sense, you've thought this. However, what I thought when I put it out in 1937, I was also called a Nazi. There was a man who, his name was Gilbert Lindsay, councilman of the Ninth District in downtown Los Angeles, which is actually the heart of America's homelessness, which is what I call the ground zero, the black hole apex of homelessness. I'm sorry, the black hole vortex of homelessness. Gilbert Lindsay said back in 1984, 85, he said, well, let's take all the homeless on Skid Row. So he thought homelessness was just on Skid Row. Let's take all the homeless on Skid Row at that time, maybe a few hundred thousand, a thousand or so. And let's just move them outside of town to a place called Saugus in north of Lancaster, California. Well, boy, did he catch heat as a black man. He was called a Nazi, racist, and bigot, and all that old stuff. And remember now, the majority of the people who are on Skid Row, who are homeless, are black men. And 50% of them are on parole. That's strange, isn't it? When you understand the parole policies and regulations. But I digress. When I said it, they got on me too. And so people say, hey, I'm not going to say that because I don't want to be associated with Nazism. You see, if you go to my plan, Exodus 2, LA 28, you will see that my plan is holistic and has nothing to do with enforcement, but has to do with voluntarism, which has to do not just with homeless people, but anyone in our society on any strata of the social strata and economic strata who are fed up with the rat race of our society, fed up with overpopulation, fed up with traffic, fed up with the stress of high cost of living, rents, mortgage, and feel trapped and enslaved, working hard, but have nothing to show for it, paying huge amounts of taxes. For what? They're fed up, driving people to drug and alcohol addiction and psychological damage and emotional damage and social dysfunction, breakup of relationships and families and children. Who do you think is driving the drug cartel industry and fentanyl and all those things. Not homeless people, because it's billions of dollars. And not the alcohol either. It's homeless. It's people's got the money, making money, and under stress. Who do you think is driving the psychotropic drug industry, the prescribed medicine industry? Do you know that most medical conditions, hospitalized conditions, are stress related? Stress related. Mental illness. Got to take a pill so you can stay mentally sane to make your money. It's not the homeless. Homeless have been gaslighted by people who cannot, and I'm not condemning anybody for what they're going through. Stress is horrible. I know. So it's just not a condemnation. It's an observation of what is going on. So one way to relieve the stress, of course, is to remove the homeless problem. And Trump says he can do it in one day. What do you think should be done? What, America, is your position on the Trump proposal? Do you agree with Mr. Trump or do you disagree with Mr. Trump? Why do you agree and why do you not agree? And if you don't see either, that well, you don't want to see them rounded by the military and taken away, because you know what that's going to lead to, right? You know what that's going to lead to. That they can't stay in the streets because as you're going to find out soon, but the White House, I've worked with the White House very much so, and they now are admitting that housing the homeless is now financially and geophysically an impossibility. Yeah, they've given up. So you can't house the homeless. Now, this is after billions of dollars. I've been around for 37 years. Billions of dollars have been spent through social service programs that were designed to help the homeless get off the streets. Really? It failed. The police can't do it, either law enforcement can't do it. So the only option is leave them in the streets to languish with you and being a threat to public health and safety, or, as Trump says, take them away. What is more humane, America? The Trump proposal or leave them in the streets? Now, I told you I'm talking with the White House, right? Have you ever heard of an entity in the White House, a federal entity called the Interagency Council on the Homeless? Interagency Council on Homelessness. Interagency Council on Homelessness. It's under the White House Domestic Policy Council. Okay? The the Interagency Council on the Homeless is made up of all 19 federal departments. And what is supposed to happen is there is to be placed on the table, as it were, a strategic national plan whereby all 19 departments, including the military and the Department of Justice, are to take a piece of that plan and apply it to their department: Interior, Commerce, State, Labor, Housing, Health and Human Services, um, you know, the departments. Tell you what, get on your device right now, or when you can after this statement here, and you go Google White House Interagency Council on Homelessness. Boom, it'll pop up. And at the very top of their page, you'll see in red across the top, strategic plan to end homelessness. Check it out. Back to where I said was before. So, America, black citizens, because you see, this particular White House, the Biden administration, has done something that I have said for 37 years. As you know, I became homeless on purpose and lived on Skid Row for 8 years to smell it, feel it, taste it, hear it, go through it, arrested numerous occasions for protesting it, that I may know what it is, feel it, so I can one day express to the world what it actually is from my heart, and not from my head, but from my heart. So whether you understand my words or language or not, you will know from the heart that what I say is true, because it's real. I said then that that the predominance of black homelessness was due to systemic racism. And I was accused of being a racist for saying that. Now the White House is saying, even local politicians are saying it. It's in the Los Angeles Homeless Service Authority. It is their policy too, that the reason for the predominance of black homelessness in LA, the national capital of homelessness, and comparatively of the world, and throughout all of America's cities, is systemic racism. Mhm. And so White House says systemic racism is the cause of black homelessness. They admit, well, y'all know this, that when non-black people, the immigrant, y'all who came here willingly, when these people, i.e. white Caucasians, Hispanic, Latinos, Asians, whatever, when they catch a cold, we get pneumonia. When they get pneumonia, we die. When they have a recession, we have a depression. When they have a depression, we're gone. And when they say all boats rise, no, all boats history has shown, and the statistics have shown that when all boats in America, every other ethnic group rises, ours sink. And somehow, even in the mud, we have somehow built ourselves a submarine so we can survive to the least bit. Okay, I'm surprised we made it this far. And so, should the Trump proposal be implemented, whether early within the Biden administration or in a Trump administration beginning 2024, and now you got to remember something. The LA Olympics is only 6 years away from now. Believe me, they're not going to wait till a week, a month, or two, like last time in 1984, before they actually move the homeless, because they don't want that. The Olympic Committee does not want that on their stained on their record anymore, and LA don't want it, America don't want it. And you can imagine what the media is going to be like 6 years from now, the technology, how that's going to, man, they're not going to wait until the summer of 2028. By the way, July 14th is the day that the opening of the Olympics, and then right after that comes the Special Olympics. So they're not going to wait. They're not going to wait until spring of 2028, somewhere in there. No, they're going to start that process like now. Why did Mr. Trump say that? Now, in July. Now, why? Because, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, that's already starting. And we black people are going to get the brunt of this. We're going to be put back on the plantation. Remember what Mr. Biden said in August of 2012 when he was vice president under President Barack Obama? He said to black folks, they're going to have y'all back in chains. Basically, y'all going back into the plantation because we don't know what else to do with y'all. Look at you. You're all up on television, committing crimes, and you're homeless. You're making it hard for people. We're going to put y'all back on the plantation. We should have never let you off in the first place. We learned a lesson about y'all black people. Brothers and sisters, American citizens, I implore to you, work with me. Work with the White House negotiating A team. That's my group of Justiceville. Help us to stop this travesty. Because should the Trump proposal become reality, whether in his administration or in the Biden administration, it's a real thing. Should it happen, we going first, y'all. Now, before I close out, let me say something to you. That Interagency Council on the Homeless I'm telling you about that's located in the White House that most of y'all don't know because they didn't want you to know about it. It's been around for 35 years. Created in 1987. They didn't want you to know about that. Shit, I just discovered it a few years ago myself. And though I've been to the White House on numerous occasions dating back to George Herbert Walker Bush. When I went to the White House then, I was talking to them about the Justiceville Strategic National Homeless Plan. And I went to the Bill Clinton White House. They did not tell us that there was such an agency in the White House. Well, we've been talking with them, right? And I just asked them twice, now, two different emails. And if you email me, ted@tedhayes.us, or I will send you the information. They said, I said to them, please tell me and my team, and subsequently the American people, do you support the Trump proposal of the relocation of homeless people by the military? Do you support that? If you do, please tell me why. If you don't, please tell me why not. And knowing that you can no longer house the homeless, you don't want them to be in the streets. So, White House, what is the Biden administration's policy? Do you or do you not agree with Trump? Or the only folks, they know this, and it's hard because see, I sent this to them 2 weeks ago, this request, and I requested again this past weekend, so it's twice. Now, I'm gonna do it again, and I want an answer because I told them there's no need for my team, you or anybody else, to continue doing our good work to help the homeless off the streets. One, we can't get them off the streets. White House says that, and two, help the homeless do what? I proposed to them. Y'all don't have a plan. You can't give us your answer because, as I said, no need in us to continue if y'all support the Trump proposal. Give us a plan. Tell us what's going on. Take Exodus 2. I proposed that to them. And you go, you study and see what I'm saying in Exodus 2, and you'll support what I'm saying because it's in you too. You know it because it's common sense. So that's where the White House is right now, folks. And I just wanted to put this quick statement. I know it's kind of long, but I hope I've kept your attention long enough. I want you to send it out to as many people as you possibly can, okay? Because we, as the American people, we the people, must unite to save our republic. Because if we allow the Trump proposal to go down, then guess what? It will be the disraveling of the Union and the loss of the republic, which we were told by the founding fathers that it was up to we the people to keep. And if we fail this Republican form of government, not a democracy, that's because Article 4, Section 4, we have a Republican form of government. This republic that accused monarchy, that accused the King of England, that accused them of slavery and social economic injustice, and that they had not the ability to rectify it. But whereas the American founding fathers said, our Republican form of government of the people, we will prevent slavery, we will end it, we will end social economic injustice, and so forth. Well, guess what, America? This experiment in human government and people government and people governmenting and people governance experiment is a failure. It's a failure. Well, let's hope not. Remember, the Most High rules, and the governments of men, and gives it to whomsoever he wills, even the worst of them. In other words, God is in charge of all of this. El Shaddai, Baruch Hashem. He will see justice done. I'm just trying to let you know what's up on the inside. Bless you. Thank you. See you in the future. Shalom.